What's up, everybody? BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you today. I want to talk about The Last of Us 2. Brand new game came out. We have started our blind Let's Play live stream, so if you want to check it out, be sure to head on over to Twitch and do so. But today I kind of want to give my initial review because there seems to be a lot of controversy around this game. For a couple of reasons, and I just kind of wanted to throw in my 2 cents because everybody else is, so why not? The truth of the matter is I've really been enjoying playing this game a lot. Like, I don't understand quite what all the hate towards it is. It's a sequel. For anybody who doesn't know, it follows Ellie in this one as opposed to Joel from the first one, if you played the first one. Ellie's quote-unquote the main character, if you will. I mean, it kind of picks up a few years after the end of The Last of Us 1, so but it's a pretty intriguing story. So apparently Joel never bothered to tell Ellie the truth about what happened, and there's been some mystery and some tension between the two of them since then, and now Ellie's kind of trying to struggle with who she's becoming, what she all stood for, what she wants to be. You know, you gotta remember, by the end of the first one, Ellie really had a plan. Like, she kind of had this idea of what she wanted her life to mean and what she wanted it to be, where she wanted it to end. She was gonna get the opportunity to basically live the life that she wanted and go out the way that she wanted. And she has to feel somewhat betrayed by Joel in that aspect when Joel takes her away from the hospital at the end of the first one. And I'm sorry if I just spoiled the first one for anybody, but we are talking about a sequel, so I'm going to assume that you've played the first one. And so she kind of feels betrayed by Joel, but at the same time, she doesn't remember what happened because she was in a coma, so she kind of has to take Joel at his word because up until this point, he hasn't really lied to her about anything. So she's conflicted, you know, and you see that play throughout this game. And it plays out great. The voice actor for Ellie, I think, did a phenomenal job with the game so far. I will say I'm about 20 hours in. I hear it's about a 40 to 45 hour game, so I'm gonna venture to say I'm about half through. And I mean, you can see the confliction in her character, not just with Joel, but like the new characters, Dina. That's one of the big controversies now, that there's apparently so much gayness in the movie between the lesbian part of it, the fact that Ellie is gay. Now, I don't think that's necessarily as big a deal as people seem to make it. I mean, it was pretty obvious after the first one, especially if you played the DLC. But it was pretty obvious after the first one that Ellie was gay. And so to go into a sequel and not expect more of her romantic character to kind of come through is kind of naive. I mean, imagine if Terminator 2, like, if James Cameron was just like, you know, we had one Terminator in the first one, I think that's enough. We're not going to have any Terminators in the sequel. No, you can't do that. If you have one Terminator in the first one, you're going to have 2 in the second. The sequel is supposed to expand on these characters, and of course, that's going to take into account the romantic side of things. That is a part of life. You know, love, hate, anger, jealousy, rage. That's all adding to her character that she then has to go through while also going through this crazy post-apocalyptic world, and then her adventure. And I'm trying not to give too much away of the second one in case you haven't played it yet, but I mean, I had called it out months ago that it was going to be focused on Ellie, and it was going to be basically a revenge story, and so far so true. That is exactly what it's been. And so I don't I don't understand why people would be upset that, you know, you delve into more of her character in all aspects. Now, apparently, a lot of the people are, you know, complaining about the super left politics of it. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's 2020. Get over it, dude. Like, I feel like we should have had, you know, we should have put an end to this LGBTQ equality argument back in the 60s. You know, like the civil rights argument, the civil rights movement should have just finished all of it. You know, like we need to get past this thinking that people are different. You know, like that people are inherently different. We're not really that different. We might think differently. We might feel differently. But you know, like we're all of the same brethren. And you would think we would be past that by now, but that feeling of it being forced on you is a conservative fear. And I know this from having grown up with super conservative parents in a very white, rural, conservative area. And that fear comes from the fact that you haven't been really exposed to it, so you yourself are not comfortable with somebody else's comfortability. And that's not that person's fault. That's on you to adult up and realize that not everything is about you. They've had to live their entire lives outside of their comfort zone. Now you have to spend 40 game hours outside of your comfort zone. If you can't handle 40 hours of your entire life, then you don't deserve to play their video games. It's not about you. It's not for you. Not everything is for you. We got to get off this idea that every game needs to be liked by every person. We have mindless clowns that go out and they play Call of Duty 12 hours a day, every day of their lives. It's the same 20 minutes over and over and over again. It takes no brain power whatsoever to do it. And you can just jump into these lobbies that are dropping N-bombs and saying, I'm gonna F your mother, and all this ridiculous nonsense. If that is your comfort zone, but going out into somebody else's comfort zone is a problem for you, then you're the problem. Then you're the problem. Don't play the game. Don't play the game. I enjoy it. It's fantastic. Like, the exploration is beautiful. Like, you can go so many different ways. There's so many different things to do. There's multiple paths to each goal. There's different people that you will come across depending on which way you go. It's genius. It's actually a very well done risk-taking game that people are pushing aside because of surface value. You can skip the cutscenes if you want. The fighting is fantastic. The battle system in this is just an improved version of the first one. Like, I haven't looked too much into it, but I am hoping to God that there's going to be multiplayer in this, because this was one of the better multiplayer games I'd played in a very, very long time. The first one. And they have honed the battle system here. They've made it better. You can now listen to your enemies. You can kind of spot them through walls and stuff like this. It's more like a Dishonored thing. They have new enemies, these dogs that like sniff your trail and they can follow you around and everything. Like it's a better version of the first one, a refined version of the first game that everybody seemed to love. The only thing different in this is you now have to go through a romantic side of Ellie. On the flip side of that, the lefty crowd is upset at the gratuitous violence, specifically the violence towards women. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, 98% of the game you play as a woman, and that woman is then killing men. Now, not only men, she's killing women too, and pets in certain instances. But like, it's not this gratuitous game where I'm sitting here watching wives get beat by their drunk husbands. You know, like I'm not sitting here, I'm not watching, you know, sex slavery go on. And who knows, maybe I get into this idea. So far, you know, one of these tribes seems to be a ridiculously violent tribe, and maybe all of a sudden I get into this gratuitously graphic horror game that I didn't realize it was going to be. But again, I'm about 20 hours in, and it's been the survival-esque horror that we had in the first game. Maybe it does take a dramatic twist, I don't know, we'll see. But it doesn't, in my opinion, it's not any more violent than real life. I mean, we just had a giant pedophile kill himself in prison. He was kidnapped. For decades, he and his rich and powerful friends were prostituting underage girls. This is real life. Sex trafficking these underage women to this pedophilia island, and these rich fucks were going there to rape them. Real life. Art imitates life. These are not new ideas. It's not like Neil Druckmann, the director of this game, is sitting in his house thinking of new ways to torture porn people. Get over yourselves. If you think it's too violent, don't play it. Don't play it. But again, go sit there and just murder 20 guys, go 20-5 in Call of Duty. Jump on Apex Legends and fry teams of 3 at a time with plasma rays. But when it comes to the truth, hitting you in the face with the truth, you cower away. You cower away. That is a you problem. The game's not for you. The game's not for you. The game is for people that are adults, that understand what's going on, and are responsible enough and comfortable enough in themselves to step outside of their comfort zone and try and learn something. It's not for you mindless gobs that go into these stupid Fortnite games and don't really understand how to do anything, because you're just mindless zombies doing the same thing over and over and over again. I strongly encourage everybody out there to pick up this game. I think it's fantastic. The story has been great so far. There's a whole new character and a whole new group, really. And we don't know who they are. We don't know where they come from. So there's a whole nother mystery part of this game. We have this whole backstory. We are learning about the 4 or 5 years or whatever it is in between the end of the first one and the beginning of the second one. We're getting to know Tommy more. There's new characters from the new village they're in. Dina, Jesse. Like it's adding to the story. But it's no different than the story that you guys all loved a few years ago. I honestly think it's a better version. I think it is a more refined version, more well written, more a better directed. I believe Neil Druckmann, I think he did the first one as well. He did phenomenal with the first one. The first one was great. This one is just kind of more improved in certain aspects. Now, again, I might get to the end of the game and the twist ending, if there is one, might destroy the whole thing and ruin everything that I just said. But as of right now, the only difference I can see is coming from the both extreme left and the extreme right side of things, and they're literally arguing bullshit. They're literally just arguing crap to argue crap, just like just like everything. But I enjoy it a lot. I think this is a fantastic game. I would buy it again if I were you, and I'm encouraging you guys to try it out. As of right now, it is not overtaken Final Fantasy VII Remake yet, because mostly probably because I haven't gotten all the way through, and if the story is, you know, even half as good as the first one was, finishes out half as good as the first one did, there's a very good chance that this one jumps up. But as of right now, Final Fantasy VII Remake is still a little bit more of my favorite game to play, but I've enjoyed all 20 hours of this game immensely, and I look forward to another 20 plus hours of this game. And I encourage you to ignore all the hate going on for it, because it is a truly fantastic game. It's been really fun. Either way, that's gonna do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me, wishing you a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.